Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Hey guys, what's up? There we go. I think it's working now. Yay! Hey everybody. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Let me see how this is working. It's been a while since I've done a live stream, so I'm going to ask a couple of questions here. Audio okay, because I have not used this in a while. Audio okay? Can you hear me now? Okay, good, good. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Obviously, it's been a while since I've done a live stream, as most of you know. In this video, hold on, let me clean my glasses. Good Lord. And I got to turn off my phone. Have you guys had to do that recently? I have seen a drastic increase in. Are you guys getting them too? The spam calls. It's just one after another after another. So literally, here's what I did. And I don't give my number out. Watch. I had to power my phone off. I literally powered it off. I blocked the calls that I don't want. It's just nonstop. I've never seen anything like it. But anyway, that's the world we live in. You guys are looking at a picture here that was sent in by Daniel Long out of Canada. I'll turn my phone back on whenever I'm ready to use it. But I know during this live stream, my phone will be sitting over here chiming. And yeah, it's just glitches in the matrix. Ton of them. I hear you. There are glitches everywhere. Oh my gosh. We've been following the glitches and the light bulbs around the world. But guys, I just real quick, yeah, the earth is getting hot. It's getting hotter. I don't promote global warming and all that. I think earth goes through cycles. I really do. And I don't think it has anything to do with humans. I'm not saying that we couldn't do things better. Absolutely we could. We can always improve. And I start with myself. But as far as, the very little presence that we have on the earth, if we're going to dominate the whole global temperature thing, I don't think that we quite have that much horsepower, but again, we could do better. But it's going to be a hot summer. I know that right now there's a dome of heat forming over the eastern United States. Is that what I'm seeing, guys? And they're saying that temperatures could be in the hundreds here in a few days in New York and Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania, West Virginia, northern Indiana. Very, very hot temperatures. They're calling it a heat bubble. It's more or less a heat dome, that's stationary and remains stationary for, an extended period of time. So yeah, it's going to get hot. And I'll say this, guys. It's been hot out here in Arizona. Naturally, I live in the desert, but it's a different kind of heat. And I'll tell you why I think it feels different. And maybe it feels different in your area too. If the heat feels different this year, leave a comment down below in the comment section. I know it does out here in the desert. About a week ago, it hit 103. And man, it felt like it was 123. No joke. And I mean, it just drains you physically. You are just drained. If you're out there for any length of time, 10, 15, 20 minutes, and I'm used to it. I've lived in the desert for 20 years. This was a different type of heat. And I think maybe, just maybe, this is a contributing factor. By the way, I've had a lot of people ask me about hurricane season. I used to do hurricane reports every year. One of my videos actually saved someone's life down in the Caribbean. Back in 2017, I was very humbled to hear that. I'm glad it helped. And I'll start doing them again. But see the moisture? See the big slug of moisture right here? And you can see it back here too, probably. But that has been there. This is part of the whole El Nino, La Nina thing. That moisture is slowly going to make its way up into the United States, into the Gulf and the Caribbean Sea. So yeah, it's going to be a busy hurricane season once it really kicks into high gear, and that moisture gets pushed up over the probably 20-degree north latitude. Then we're going to see storms. But as long as this dust is in the air, and I know we've talked about this for years, and it's a topic of debate. I get it. Some people say, oh no, that dust doesn't influence hurricanes. Yes, it does. It definitely influences a hurricane because it is by very definition the dry air. when dry air gets pulled into a hurricane, the hurricane disappears. It goes away. It could take a Cat 5 down to a Cat 1 in less than 24 hours, that type of dry air. And a hurricane will not form in these conditions. Conditions are terrible for the formation of hurricanes. But here's the thing. Hurricanes are going to be forming over here in the Caribbean Sea and up into the Gulf. So that's probably where we're going to see the activity. Yes, we're already seeing action over here in the Eastern Pacific, but that's not necessarily going to affect anybody here in the United States, other than we're feeling moisture up here. We've got more moisture content in the air, which makes it feel hotter in Arizona, the desert. I mean, it feels unbelievably hot. Almost feels like we're in Louisiana. So it's going to be a long, hot summer. I think we're going to see an abundance of named hurricanes. Will they make landfall? That remains to be seen. I mean, you almost have to be psychic to try to figure something like that out. Yeah, storms, conditions are going to be favorable over here where you see all this moisture for the formation of hurricanes. Will they make landfall? Will they avoid dry air like you see right here? Yeah, these are dust particulates. It's not like there's the sky is full of sand. Literally, it's not. That's dust that's traveled from here 4,000 miles. Are you serious? Makes its way all the way across the ocean, and now it's entering the Gulf, going into the southern coast of Texas. It's entering Texas right now. So hurricanes don't typically form in those types of conditions. So nothing to worry about now, and probably for the next 2 weeks. No. But will there be hurricanes over here in the Eastern Pacific? Yes, there was one, a couple days ago. Eric made landfall, I believe, down here in Central America, and then it quickly dissipated. So busy hurricane season. It's going to be super, super hot this year. It's going to be a long, hot summer. In fact, one thing we follow every day over here is power outages. The map you're looking at right now, 154,000 people without power in Pennsylvania right now. Are you serious? 41,000 in Virginia without power, 20,000 in Indiana, and 18,000 Maryland, 28,000 in New Jersey. And I believe those outages are the result of inclement weather, high winds, and storms that have rolled through the area. But back to where I started, I want to touch on this real quick because I'm just curious. If anybody is watching from Canada. We're looking at wildfires here in the United States, southern Utah. Check it out. Big wildfire in south central Utah, one on each side of the bigger wildfire. We've got wildfires in Arizona, southern Arizona. We've got a few over here in New Mexico, and then one near the Mexicali border. And also up in Wyoming, that's south of the Yellowstone supervolcano. Are you serious right now? So we're getting wildfires down here in the U.S., but what happened to the wildfire activity up in Canada? I mean, it was off the charts there for a while. These are some photos that were sent in by Daniel Long, and it goes back to, maybe the heat's drying things out, the vegetation that was there throughout the winter, I don't know, but there was an abundance of wildfire activity amongst all these lakes. Look at this. This was one of the photos that I received from Daniel that I found the most interesting. Look at all the bodies of water, and you've got these raging infernos in the middle of the bodies of water. Make that make sense. How does that happen? And not only that, how does it just disappear? It seemed like in a few days. There's not much going on over here on the map in Canada, and I'm glad to see that. But this map was overwhelmed with wildfire smoke just a little over 12 days ago. The wildfires are all out just like that? That's just not possible. So I'm looking at the wildfire map over here at, this is a Canadian site that monitors the wildfire activity. Purples and reds indicate wildfire activity, and what they literally mean is out of control. The red circles are out of control, purple out of control wildfires that they simply can't get a handle on. But if you look at the Zoom Earth map, it's not showing hardly any smoke at all anymore. It's just like they just kind of became a thing of the past. So if anybody's on here from Canada, please leave a comment down below in the comment section. Are you guys still dealing with wildfires in Alberta, British Columbia, Saskatchewan? Those were the early hot spots that I saw back in May, and that's when I started receiving photos from Daniel getting pink suns, the wild pink sunsets, and then, of course, this ominous looking sky here. Sometimes wildfires can create their own weather. And I think the wildfire situation created this humongous twister, whatever's going on here. This, I believe, was in, I want to say, British Columbia, north central British Columbia. But anyway, the wildfire activity was off the charts, and now it's just gone. Or at least it looks like it's gone, but it's made its way down into the United States. So going to be a long, hot summer, probably out west here. It's already hot out here. My goodness. And the animals are feeling it. I've got some things that I want to share with you guys. I've got a little more work to do on it, but we're going to revisit a topic that we touched on about 4 years ago, strange wildlife behavior. Starting to get more information on strange wildlife behavior. I'm taking UV readings, and I normally, guys, I don't start taking UV readings until summer officially starts. So, around the 23rd, 24th, I'll go out and start taking UV readings every other day at around noon. If you take a UV reading, you want to take it at noon when the sun is directly over your head and you don't have a shadow on either side of your body. That is your highest UV reading of the day. As the sun starts to go down, the UV is going to go down. As the sun comes up, the UV goes up until high noon, and that's the highest UV of the day. So that's when you take the readings. So I'll be taking the readings, and I'm also taking temperature readings of the first molecules my instrument right over there detects. And here recently they've been negative 41, which is good. And how is it so cold up there and it's so hot down here, That is an enigma, kind of like these recent X flares that we've seen hopping off the surface of the sun. And there's been some very ambitious people put out videos right after the X flare occurs, just assuming that there's going to be an Earth-directed super halo or CME, and that's not always the case. So these experts that are warning us about these incoming CMEs that aren't even real. Just like this one here. There was an X flare less than 24 hours ago right there. And you would think a big old X flare like that, what was that, almost an X2 that was on the Earth-facing side of the sun? You'd be like, okay, that's guaranteed Earth-bound solar flare or CME. Not the case. Didn't even produce a CME. So this is something I've been doing for 16 years, and you don't get the cart before the horse. Yeah, just because there's an X flare doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a CME interact with the Earth. And that's 2 in a row. 2 X flares, nothing happening. It was just a pulse off the surface of the sun that emitted a large, blast of light, and no CME. Sometimes they don't produce CME. So don't believe everything you see in here when it comes to these solar flares jumping off the surface of the sun. Just letting you guys know. Sometimes it's the real deal, like the super halo back on June 1st that created the very dramatic aurora activity around the Earth and the long duration geomagnetic storm that lasted over 70 hours. That was indeed a super halo that sent a component directly towards the Earth. I knew it wasn't going to miss. So that was an easy one. That was an easy one to call. But these last 2, they've been a little tricky. So again, just be careful where you get your information. There was an X flare, but it is not a problem for people on planet Earth. Let's see. I wanted to take you guys to a couple other places. Where we at? Oh yeah, over here. AP. Yeah, they're talking about this year being a very, very hot, record-setting year. And something, I'll give you guys just an example of the things that I'm working on. They're finding king cobra snakes over in the Nepal, India region, way up in the mountains at 9,000 feet, and they don't normally find those types of snakes at that altitude. So, and that's over in the Mount Everest region. So and that's not just those. There's other ones that I'm going to talk about, but not necessarily specifically in this video. But yeah, they're finding king cobras at 9,000 feet, and they don't normally find them there. Here's a look at the sea surface temperatures. Here's another reason that hurricanes are probably going to be very active this year once the dust clears out. If the dust clears out, which is kind of clear right now, there could be a hurricane form right here. There's not a whole lot of dust. There's a little bit of wind shear, but that's not necessarily going to stop a hurricane from forming. This is called the MDR, this region right here. That's known as the main development region. But it's not the only development region. They form over here in the southern Caribbean, the central Caribbean, the northern Caribbean. Hurricane Michael formed in the northern Caribbean and it was a record setting hurricane back in 2018. So there have been many big superstorms form in the Caribbean Sea and the Gulf of Mexico. But there was an absence of wind shear and an absence of dust. This is called the Bermuda High, this big center of rotation you see right here. That's the Bermuda High. It's always there. It just depends on where it's at. That is what steers hurricanes that form out here in the MDR, the main development region. And it's also responsible for pulling the dust from Africa all the way over here to the United States. So right now, hurricanes could form out here in the central part of the MDR, but aren't likely. I've already looked, just so you know. I went 2 weeks out. There's nothing coming. So at least not over here in the MDR. But look for an abundance of hurricanes this year. The outlook is calling for possibly 19 named storms. To be quite honest with you, I think it's going to be every bit of that. I think it's going to be over 20. There's going to be 20 plus named storms this year. But the thing of it is, are they going to make landfall? Nobody knows. There's the very likely possibility that there's going to be several storms form out here. But will they make landfall? Let's hope none of them do. But you know that's probably not the case. How many make landfall? That remains to be seen. But look for a busy year. Absolutely, because conditions are prime. They are absolutely prime. Coming over here to spaceweather.com, talking about the X flare. Right there it is. That came off of the sunspot that produced the X flare a couple of days ago that produced no CME. It also, again, produced no CME. It was just an extreme ultraviolet flash. That was it. No CME. So doesn't happen very often, but it does indeed happen. The sunspot that was responsible for the activity, 4114, is turning away from the Earth right now as I do this video. It wasn't a very big sunspot, but it was loaded with beta, gamma, delta magnetics that produce. It has to have that delta component. If it doesn't have the delta component, it's not going to produce an X flare. It can produce an M flare. I think, in fact, we just had one, right? Yeah, we just had an M flare right there. The delta component is imperative if you're going to have an X-class solar flare. That had it, but is turning away from the Earth, and look what's back here. Nothing. It's all quiet. So we shouldn't see any more solar flares probably for at least 5 or 6 days. If they come from this region, more than likely they will not be Earth-directed, but a part of them could be, but more than likely not, because they haven't been producing solar or CMEs. So sun is going to be getting quiet here in the next couple of days. You guys have heard about the manatees swarming around the coast of Florida. There have been sharks off the coast of Florida. So that falls into the it's not necessarily strange wildlife activity, but there have been numerous calls from people wondering why the manatees are gathering off the coast of southern Florida, Pinellas County. And they're not necessarily a problem. It's just curious. Why are they doing that? What's compelling them to form in groups and hanging around in big groups off the coast of Florida? They normally follow the food, right? But together like that, it's almost as if they're doing something else. There have been an increase in whales making their way to land, beached whales this year. There have been an increase in shark. There's been an increase in shark activity. Bears going in places that they don't normally go. On and on and on. The bees earlier in the spring. I noticed bees out here on our back patio this year that I had never seen. They appeared in a matter of a couple hours. There were no bees on our patio, and then a couple hours later, I go out there, and there's like 8 bees laying on the concrete, and they came out of nowhere for no reason. So maybe it's got something to do with the heat. I don't know. I know it's been very hot out here. In fact, you can see we're under a heat warning out here in Arizona, which is not necessarily anything new. We're in the desert. I get it. But these pinks up here, this is what you guys have got to look forward to these next, I think they're talking quite possibly 10 days. And here's the thing, summer's just starting. What? So this heat dome is going to remain stationary. It's almost as if, imagine a bubble, just a big bubble. And that's what's going on right here. It's a bubble, a stationary bubble that is trapping heat. And the heat is going to make it extremely uncomfortable. And even down here, like in places like Louisiana, Mississippi, where it's very humid, that humidity goes all the way up into Illinois, Indiana, Missouri. I spent a lot of time in Illinois, and I know it gets super humid. Look at the St. Louis area. They're looking at an extreme heat watch. All the Burgundy extreme heat watch. The entire state of Ohio, parts of western Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania, southeastern New York, Massachusetts, Rhode Island. Look at that. Unbelievable. Most of New Jersey. Man, we're in for a long haul here, guys. And the pink is an extreme heat warning, so that's guaranteed. That's gonna happen in eastern Nebraska, far southern, southeastern South Dakota, western Iowa, and southern and central Minnesota, northwestern Wisconsin. Heat warning, extreme heat warning. So if you guys are in any of these areas that are red, that are pink, that are burgundy, wow. Make sure your AC's tuned up. If you haven't, have plenty of fans. Keep plenty of cold water around and stay inside anytime after like 11 o'clock, especially up here where you guys get the extreme humidity too. It just makes it feel incredibly hot. That's how it's felt out here in the desert. We've had more humidity than normal, and I think it's got to do with the activity we've seen down here north of the equator in Central America, northern South America, down around Panama and the southern Caribbean Sea. There has been moisture swirling down here for months. I keep this map right here going over here all day long. It's just right here on this laptop. And I watch the development of tropical waves over here off the west coast of Africa. I watch for that, especially during hurricane season, and we're in hurricane season. So I see them coming right when they come off the African coast. And then I, of course, watch down here in the Caribbean and stuff. It's on all day long. This is what I watch. This is one of the many that I use. So this slug of moisture is making its way up into the southern United States. It's terribly humid in Texas right now, too, and the temperatures are off the charts. So just get ready, guys. It is going to be a long, hot summer. And if you guys know anything about the wildfire situation up in Canada, leave a comment down below in the comment section. I would really appreciate it. I've never seen wildfires disappear that much. Kind of like the disappearing water at Lake Mead. We are already 10, 11, 12 feet below where we are this time a year ago. So what they're going to start doing is this. Check it out. This is what they do. And you know what? This is our primary water supply out here in Arizona. Right here, the mighty Hoover Dam, Lake Mead. So, yeah, I keep an eye on this, especially during the summer when the slope starts to go downward. It starts to plummet. So here's what they start doing, the managers of the water there, because if this number right here gets below 1,040, let's say it gets to 1,039, I don't know, 58, they turn off the water to Las Vegas and to the resorts. I saw that a few years ago. It got down to 1,040 even. And I'm like, okay, tomorrow, if it gets below 1,040, they start diverting water away from Las Vegas. Guess what? It started magically going up. So what they do, they walk the high wire this time of year. They manage the inflow and outflow gates. Like right now, the outflow was 15,105. Yesterday, the inflow was 12,538. So that made a negative change. But look what they did on... Here's what they do. They walk that high wire. The 15th of June and 14th of June. Check it out. You can see what they did. They slowed down the amount of water going out. The green is positive. So what they did, they had to have slowed down the outflow. And they did. There was 10,012 going out, 12,437 coming in. So they can kind of regulate the water at Lake Mead, because if it gets below 1,040, they turn the water off going into, I think, parts of Las Vegas, not necessarily all of Las Vegas, but Arizona is second in line. If it gets below, it's not 1,040, I think it's 1,030 or 1,025. If it gets down into that range, then Arizona can lose water, and California has water rights, so the water will constantly flow to California if there's ever a water situation like that up in Lake Mead. And there clearly is. The water is exponentially lower, 13.05 feet from this time last year. 13 feet lower. It's going to be a long, hot summer, guys. Long, hot summer. Wow. So you guys, once again, in the East Central Plains, be ready. It is definitely going to get hotter. In fact, that's why I used that banner that I did, because the whole Earth, it's not just the United States. The entire Earth is experiencing extreme temperatures right now around the world, and we're feeling it too. Is it our fault? Is it human caused? You know, I mean, that's a topic for a debate that I just simply stay out of, because I believe that the Earth goes through cycles. And I think it has since the beginning of time. We haven't been here since the beginning of time, so we don't know what the Earth has done, you know, many thousands and thousands of years ago, because nobody was keeping track of things like that. So in my reality, I think the Earth has probably always done these things, you know. We've just never experienced them. And when we do experience them, you know, it's sometimes maybe a little bit alarming, but the good news is it's going to be okay. It is definitely going to be okay. But when the water warms up and the sea surface temperatures get hot, you can see an increase in hurricanes, and those are things that we need to be aware of and need to be prepared for. So if you're along the east coast of the United States, especially from North Carolina down to the southern tip of Florida, the Florida Keys, obviously the greater Antilles, the lesser Antilles, and then, of course, inside the Gulf, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle, and southern Georgia. Southern Georgia's even in the hurricane prone. You know, southern Georgia's been hit with some big hurricanes, high winds. They're not immune from the hurricanes just because they're not on the coast. They're close enough. They are along the coast, along the southeast side of the United States, but from the Gulf side, they're not along the coast. But Georgia's definitely in the hurricane zone. So that's one thing we got to be aware of when the sea surface temperatures get up there. And right now, the sea surface temperatures are in the upper 90s. And it's not even summertime yet. We're not even at full peak sun. Peak sun's June 23rd. The sun will make its way all the way up here to the western Sahara. That's peak sun right there, 23.6. And it'll stay there for a few days, then it'll start making its way back down to the equator throughout the summer. But right now, it's still climbing. I checked it one year. You can use a shadow, like an obelisk. You know, it creates a shadow, a perfect shadow on the ground. And you'll see the shadow grow throughout the summer months. And then once the sun hits peak, June 23rd, I mean, it is like clockwork. I've done it. I've checked it myself. I don't just take we're told for granted. I check it myself. And the shadow is its longest on June 23rd. And then the shadow starts to retract all the way down to December 21st. And then it's longer again. And then it goes back, and it's shortest at equinox, longest during solstice. So it's not rocket science. It's simple science. That's all. And if you really want to learn and understand it yourself, you can. You can do it yourself. I've done it. Okay, guys, that's about all I got today. I wanted to give you an update on the strange wildlife behavior. I've got that coming up here soon. I know I've been talking a lot about the flashing lights, and guys, I wouldn't be talking about it if I didn't feel that it was part of something bigger. Okay, if I thought it was just faulty bulbs, trust you me, you wouldn't even have seen one video. But I've never gotten a video in over 12 years of flashing lights like the degree we're getting right now of any kind for until November of 2024. And then all of a sudden, my email and Dropbox are getting overwhelmed with people seeing mysterious flashing lights. And I get the purple lights are a faulty component. I get that, okay? We all get that. We all understand that. It's got a bad component. That's the magnesium strip. But why are the magnesium strips all going bad at the same time? That's the forest. That's that people can't see because of the trees. I had a guy send me a video of a stretch of highway, 2 stretches of highway in Florida of over, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 miles long, and the lights on both sides of the freeway were purple. And he'd said like 5 days prior to that, they weren't purple. So it's not the purple lights. I mean, really, who cares? It's why did they go like that at the same time? Hey, Independent A, thank you. Really appreciate that. Why did they go purple all at the same time? You know what I mean? That's the question. And the lights that we're seeing flashing, there's too many. We're seeing them in cars, trucks that aren't even attached to the grid. We're seeing them on solar that aren't attached to the grid. And obviously homes and businesses and things like that. And it's not just LED. Guys, I've got hundreds and hundreds of videos that I haven't even got to yet. I want to get to them, but obviously I can't do them all in one video. but they're fluorescent bulbs as well. So it's not just an LED thing, and it's not just a magnesium strip. It's something bigger. Something is influencing the flow of electricity, and someday it will be revealed. It will reveal itself someday. These lights are trying to tell us a story. I'm all ears. I'm listening. So I'm just trying to pass that on to you. I don't share the flashing lights every day. In fact, I have one right here that I could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to save it for another video. There's some good ones in there, some really good ones. And the thing about it is, they're all different. They're all different. I've received now almost 1,700 examples just myself, and I'm one person, and they're all different. They're all different examples. They're all unique. No two are alike. I had a young lady from France send me a video. I still have it. It's on my desktop over here. From France, she's got a portable vacuum, okay, that lights up. And the vacuum turned on, and it's not one that runs by itself. It's not one of those robotic ones. But it does set in a charger, but you have to take it out and manually use it. Turns on and off by itself now. A vacuum? What? So it's beginning more and more obvious to me that it's affecting more and more things electronically. I've seen smartphones malfunction, TVs obviously, which that could be a glitch. Okay, I get it. TVs go bad. I've had TV behind me. One prior to this one went bad. So I know that happens. But I've seen monitors behaving, flashing on and off, TVs flashing on and off, just a wide variety of things. So to me, there's something bigger at play. Could it be something inside the Earth because we're in solar maximum and the magnetic shields are weakening? That's just a theory. Did a neutrino somehow pick up an electron? Because neutrinos are hollow. They don't carry anything. They're neutral. That's why they're called neutrinos, okay? They go through, neutrinos can travel through anything and everything. But what if somehow, I know stranger things have happened, but what if a neutrino somehow picked up an electron, just a real weak electron? And when it passes through electrical current, hitching a ride on these man-made current carriers, what if that rogue electron is affecting these lights in certain areas, rogue and randomly? That's all. There's something bigger at play. Trust me, I feel it. But anyway, back to the hurricanes and the heat. Going to be a long, hot summer, and there's going to be a lot of hurricanes, guys, in my humble opinion. I will be reporting on hurricanes again this year in a variety of different places. I'll keep you guys updated. So just know if you're living in any of these areas down here along the coast of Texas, all the way over to Florida, and all the way up the east coast of the United States, I got you. I got you covered. I got your back. So subscribe to this channel. I will definitely keep you updated on any hurricane activity that's coming towards the coast. These hurricanes that are just kind of meandering around out here in the ocean, these fish storms and stuff like that, if they're not coming towards land or anybody, the Caribbean islands of the Caribbean or the Bahamas, then I'm not going to report on them because it's futile. I'm not going to do it. But if they're coming towards land and they could affect a viewer, a subscriber, anybody, your family members, I got you covered, okay? I'm going to be back on it this year, 100%. So be ready. There's going to be a lot of them. That's another reason why I'm going to do it this year. There's been kind of a little bit of a lull, but this year could be very, very active. Just know I got you, okay? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And I appreciate you guys stopping by today. I'm going to hop off here. That's really all I've got. I wanted to talk to you about the obvious extreme heat temperatures that most of you are well aware of. If you're in the central and east central plains, it's going to get hot. It's going to stay hot for the next several days. So be ready. Make sure your AC's tuned up. Have plenty of water. And be prepared for power outages because you just never know. You never know. Like right now, there's over 150,000 without power in Pennsylvania, and they are in the middle of this upcoming extreme heat watch. So can you imagine humidity being about 70%, temperature getting up to 100? You're going to feel like you're in the swamps of Louisiana, you know, with no AC. So just be prepared for that. That's all. I'm not saying the power is going to go out, but, you know, sometimes when the grid gets overwhelmed with everybody wanting to use electricity, and then let's say we have a possible solar storm that does produce a CME. The last two have not. There was nothing incoming, so just know that. But if there is one incoming, I got you. I'm the storm guy. I'm a storm chaser. I chase solar storms. I chase hurricanes, and sometimes I chase storms on land, not all the time, but I definitely got you when it comes to hurricanes. So subscribe to the channel. I got you covered for the entire remainder of the year. Hurricane season lasts until November, and we'll be chasing every single one that's headed towards land, rest assured. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. I want to thank everybody for stopping by. I see a lot of comments over here. I appreciate that. We're going to do another live stream probably here in another day or two, and I'll have some more information to share with you guys about strange wildlife behavior. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and be safe out there. See you guys. See you the next live, probably tomorrow or the next day. Bye.